Welcome to Driven by Dreams, where we inspire people to keep dreaming. Today we're joined by Sandy Basaka, co-founder and CEO of Our Yard, who has been passionate about creating impact from a young age. After starting her entrepreneurial journey in high school, Sandy went on to build Our Yard, a platform connecting local businesses with STSU students, while balancing college and leading a growing team. As a refugee and immigrant, Sandy brings a unique perspective on resilience, leadership, and the power of creating opportunities for others. Let's dive in. Hi, Sandy. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, before we get started, let's kick things off with a quick rapid fire round.
Okay, perfect. Let's go.
Early mornings or late nights?
Oh my gosh, late nights, 100%.
Big vision or daily execution?
Big vision. Always need to have a big vision.
Risk taker or calculated strategist?
Risk taker.
Lead from the front or empower from behind?
Empower from behind.
Growth or profitability first?
Growth.
The best piece of advice you've ever received?
Just do it scared.
And what's one book that really impacted your career?
Midnight Library.
Well, thanks for sharing that.
Of course.
Well, now let's go into your entrepreneurial journey. So, you started your first business in high school. Can you share a bit more about that? And when did you know you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
Yes, actually, in high school, I was set to go towards the pre-med route because that's like all I ever knew. My mom was in the medical industry and I really liked it and I volunteered a lot for hospitals. But for some reason, I always had like, and I didn't know I was interested in business at the time, but for some reason, I always had like this inkling in my brain and like the itchiness in my finger where when COVID happened, I had a sewing machine and I was like, oh my gosh, like scrunchies were a big thing during this time. Like, oh my gosh, I can just make scrunchies and sell them because I know how to sew. So my first business was going to Walmart, buying a bunch of fabric, getting elastic bands, and making so many scrunchies. My mom to this day still uses them, and the elastic is still good. But that was my first business that happened in high school. And then the second business that I ended up working on never really got to like actually sell this product, but nail polish. I've always been obsessed with nails, and I wanted to create a nail polish business. And I wanted to tie in my love for chemistry because I love chemistry and I want to be a chemist by creating a solution for nail polish. And those moments were kind of when I realized that like, okay, I like the med pathway, but for some reason I keep falling onto the business side. And it didn't really hit me until I read Midnight Library, the book that I mentioned, that I don't actually want to go in the med pathway and I want to do business instead. But that's kind of where my entrepreneurship journey made itself aware to me during my high school experience.
So, what did that first business teach you about confidence and ownership?
Oh my gosh. So it was my first like ever thing that I did by myself. I've always been really good at school. Like you read, you memorize, you test take, you understand, that's what it is. But business, it's a whole another world where there's no set blueprint for what you should be doing or how to do it. So I remember like just sitting in my room and me and my sister were working on this together because we both know how to sew. I was just sitting on my room and I was like, oh my God, okay, I don't know what to do, but let me just go watch YouTube videos. And this is before like AI and ChatGPT and all this stuff where you couldn't like easily access information at a rapid pace where you had to just find it yourself and read through articles, watch YouTube videos. So I remember just having to figure how to sew a good scrunchie. And I remember I made so many bad scrunchies. But that's kind of like the entrepreneurship process. Your first product probably isn't going to be the perfect. You just have to keep trying it over and over again. But it definitely taught me there's no set path for entrepreneurship. You need to just keep learning stuff as you go, and your first product or your first scrunchie will never be the one that you're going to be marketing and selling. You just got to keep trying and perfecting it.
Just curious, how did you evaluate like how good your scrunchies were and how you needed to improve? Did you ask people? Was it just something you figured out?
So I have very thick hair. I don't know if it shows, but I have very thick and curly hair. And something that I've always struggled with, me as like a thick haired person, is hair ties or scrunchies that would hold my hair. That's something that I could never really find a true scrunchie for. And some of the scrunchies that I would find, they were just like the big ones, the ones that were like, they said that they had like a lot of elastic strength, but it was only the giant ones, and I just wanted like a cute tiny one. So me and my family and my cousins, we all have very thick and curly hair. So I would make some, have my sister wear it, have my cousins wear it, have my mom wear it, and if it held, if it kept their hair up, then I would know it worked. And this is kind of during COVID, so we really couldn't go out and talk to people. But that was just the way that I tested it. If I can wear my scrunchie and keep it in the entire day and it still looks good and it doesn't hurt my head or crease my hair, then it works. But it was a lot of trial and error because there was a lot of times where I bought too weak of an elastic, and other times where I bought strong elastic, but it was very thick. But after like every feedback we got, we just kept on improving. And this is just scrunchies, by the way, but the lesson behind of like just always improving on what you're building by getting feedback is true for like any business you build. But it was fun to learn it through scrunchies.
Well, thanks for sharing that. You mentioned earlier that you were a refugee and immigrant from Iraq. So, how has your background shaped the way you approach risk, leadership, and resilience?
Yes. Okay. So this is something I'm very proud of. So I'm a refugee and immigrant from Iraq. My parents sacrificed everything and left everything behind in order to start over here in America and to give their kids, me, a better future. So when I arrived to America, me and my family, we didn't know anything. We had to start over from the beginning. And I think that experience of seeing my parents build something from nothing fuels my ambition and like the honor that I want to give them by being able to create for them and have a successful life here in America, like the American dream, because that's what they gave everything for. But it kind of also fuels my entrepreneurship mindset because they started over and built something here in business. You'll probably have to start over, whether it be because your previous product didn't work or you have to build it again or you start a new business in the end. And having that being able to see that at a young age, like starting over is not bad, it's good. Through my parents really inspired me to just keep pushing, keep going. And it comes from a very blessed and privileged background because I was never handed anything. I had to find things on my own. Didn't really have any guidance here in America. I had to figure out the whole college system, how to apply. I had to figure out how to get scholarships. I didn't even know about APs in high school until I overheard it from my friends talking, and that's when I started to get involved in like, okay, so I should be taking APs because this is good. But it's because I kept asking questions to figure out what I should be doing next, and I think that might be my superpower. I ask a lot of questions and I'm not ashamed of it. If I don't know something or I have lack of information, I will ask someone who does and get that information from them. But being an immigrant and refugee has helped me realize that with grit, determination, ambition, and a lot of audacity, you can do whatever you want, and there's nothing wrong with starting over. Just like my parents, they started over, and now I'm starting businesses, and if there comes a day where I have to start over and do another business, it's fine, because my parents did it once, and I was living it through them as well, starting over here in America. We know what it's like to be at the bottom. We can't go any lower than that. We did it once, we can do it again.
That's really inspirational how you were able to start over and overcome that fear, right? Most people fear change and starting over, so that's amazing. What leadership values matter to you the most when you're building a team?
Mm. This is actually something that I value the most when it comes to leadership. I think we did it in our quick, rapid question, where instead of leading from the front, I lead from the behind. I lead from behind my team. I like pushing my team. It's like, I call it tough love. Like, I will forever support them, but I will always push them to be better leaders, to be better people. And something that I hold deeply is like core values. What your core values are. If you don't have good core values and you're not I guess making your decisions and moving based on your core values, then there's only so much you can do and live a life that's very fulfilling. So when it comes to leadership, as a leader, my goal is to always take care of my team. The business, sure, I might have thought of the business and I own the business and I'm the CEO of it, but my team is building the business too. A lot of the work that goes into building this business is because of them. All of the success is because of them. And I will forever take pride in making sure that I take care of my team because they are my responsibility as CEO and co-founder. They're the people that I need to make sure are provided for, they're supported for, and they're growing in the position they're in. I don't like leading from a mindset like, oh, I control everything and this is my vision, my path. I like to give people parts of what we're building. I like to have them take ownership of what we're building because in the end, it's not just me. I'm just a girl with an idea, a 5-year vision, a long-term vision. They're the ones that are making it happen. So when it comes to team, always, always, always leading from behind by pushing them and making sure that they feel supported in what we're doing and that they truly believe in what we're building and they have their mission aligned with our mission as a company as well.
Thank you so much for sharing that. How have you ever had to fire someone?
Oh my gosh, let me tell you about it. So I actually, in my previous business that we actually shut down, which is like why I like talking about starting over, because I've started over like I think 3 times from our I currently have a startup called Our Yard. But in my previous business, it wasn't really firing, but I realized the previous team that I had was not very mission aligned, nor did we have the same core values. And I wish I understood that before I brought them on the team, but it's not their fault. We just had differing opinions, vision, and the way we saw things and the ownership we have with our company. But it taught me the best lesson I can ever have. Like thankfully, I learned it at 20 years old. But it's to be really, really careful with who you bring onto your team. If they do not fit the mission values, if they do not believe in the vision, if they do not have the same core beliefs as you, then no matter how good the product is, no matter how big the problem you're solving and how much money you can make off of it, it can fail because the team is not the right team. So thankfully, at 20 years old, I learned something that people usually learn when they're 40. It definitely did hurt because I did feel a sense of betrayal of what happened, but I'm like, thankfully, I thank God all the time. Thankfully, it did happen to me because it really made me value what a team is and should be and how it should look like. And thankfully now with my current team at Our Yard, I'm so happy with who I have on my team because we have the same core values. We believe in the same mission we're building in the company. And it truly shows in our product because we were able to now grow this business 3 to 4 times faster than my last business.
Wow. How do you find out when you're hiring someone if their core values align with your mission?
So something that I love to tell my team, because my team is also now trying to find people to join their team because we're growing, I call it a vibe check. I always do vibe checks. So I never I never scout people, because that's what I used to do previously. I scouted people to join the team. I now wait for people to come and be interested in joining our own team. And then after that happens, because that already shows that they want to be a part of what we're building, instead of me going to somebody and scouting them because of their skills. Something I like to tell my team is you can always teach hard skills, always. Any technical, marketing, whatever, analytics, whatever it may be, you can always teach them that. When it comes to soft skills and their vibes and if they truly click as a team, that's something you can't really force someone to learn. So whenever someone new decides they want to join our team, I usually go out with them for coffee. Like, hey, let's just hang out. Let's go drink some coffee. Let's go get some food, whatever it may be. And let's just chat, like just normal people. Let's just chat. And I like to call this my vibe check. I think before you even look at the experience that someone has, always see who they are as a person, what their dreams may be, not in a professional setting, but just like as a personal setting, like you're just talking to somebody else. And then from there, after that meeting, if the vibes were great, you can learn more about them. I can speak from my own experience. My entire team, when they first joined, did not have experience in the roles that they wanted to do at all. But they were passionate, they were great people, we clicked very well, and now my CTO can literally build and push something out in like a week. Both of my girls, my CMO and CPO, Alyssa and Cheska, they can create a whole entire marketing campaign that can last like literally back to back, multiple campaigns, and we get so much growth from them, and they didn't know how to do that previously. That's why I like to emphasize to my entire team and everyone that's trying to build a team, experience and skills can always be taught. That's not something, it's very easy to learn stuff, especially now in the world we live in. When it comes to who they are as people, always do a vibe check first to make sure that they fit well with the team before you even move on to the next step.
I think that's really valuable advice. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. Now, I think you mentioned your newer startup, Our Yard. So could you explain what you guys do? And
Yes. So, our yard, I'll give a little background of what it is, and I'll get to why I decided to build this and then why the team is building it. But our yard is trying to make thrifting and sustainability more accessible to college students. We have multiple pop ups on campuses. Right now, we're piloting at one university, but we have around 25 universities waitlisted for us to grow there. But we have multiple thrifting pop ups on campus, and we actually just launched our app where students can see what items that the campus has for thrifting, and they can thrift with other students. They can sell and buy basically within each other on campus. And in addition, we're trying to involve the local community. So we're providing students with exclusive discounts from local businesses near their university. In the end, my mission, like the mission we have with the company, is that we really focus on community. That's something that we want every university to have, where students can go to feel supported. They can go to for help, whatever it may be, find affordable items, make extra cash by selling their own items within their student community. And we're also trying to involve the local businesses, because we understand that university as a whole extends beyond just the students. It's also around it. So we're involving these local businesses by allowing them to reach these students, and the students benefiting through discounts and whatnot. But in the end, I decided to build it because as a refugee and immigrant, I grew up low income. The only way I can afford college is through having multiple scholarships, and I thrifted not only to just find affordable items, but to make extra cash to support myself and my family. But I ran into a lot of unsafe situations on Facebook Marketplace. I tried using Depop, Mercari, and all the other platforms, but the shipping fees were really high that I just couldn't afford. Like a $5 top would end up being like 20 to 25 bucks. And I tried to find an alternative that was just close, nearby, safe, because I don't know about you, but Facebook Marketplace isn't really that safe. And I couldn't find one, so I decided to build my own, just a student community where we can thrift with each other. Because the nearest thrift store locations by SDSU and other universities that I've seen are around 45 minutes to an hour away, and a lot of college students don't have cars. So I'm trying to bring thrifting to them and to every campus, which is why that's where my personal connection comes to it. And I've talked to a lot of students, and I heard their stories, and it kind of pushes me to continue trying harder, because it's something that not only I have faced, but I've heard other students as well. And my entire team are so motivated with this, because we're all first-gen students. We use thrifting not because it's just a fun thing to do, but it's also a way for us to survive. It's a means for us to survive, and it helps us stay sustainable, because we really care about the environment, obviously. But that's kind of where our yard comes in, and how my team's involved, and the mission behind us just trying to build communities on every college campus, because college is hectic. Being a college student, you go through so much financial stress, school, work, whatever it may be. And just having a community on every campus would be very helpful and beneficial to college students. It's something that I've always wanted, and thankfully I'm able to build something now for it.
that's an amazing purpose. Wow. How do you build trust with small business owners who may be skeptical, who may have been skeptical at first?
This is actually something that I learned when it comes to sharing your vision. You're supposed to share your personal story, to businesses and what we're trying to do. Thankfully, we're growing very fast. I mean, we've been at it for a couple months, and we already have access to 5,000 students at SDSU alone using our platform. So not only do we have the numbers to back it up of how we're able to help them join the community, but I go in there and I tell them hey, I want to build a community that supports each other. That's my goal. That's my mission. It's not a money grab. It's not something that I'm doing for profit. It's something that I truly want to create to strengthen the community. I would love for you to be a part of it. I know students would like your product, whatever it may be, your service, and I want to bring your business to them, and I want to expose what you're trying to do to them as well. And it's really being able to connect with them on that level, rather than thinking of it hey, we can give you exposure to 5,000 students. Here's how it'll look like. Here's the model. Here's a business plan. Here's the tiers, how much money you have to pay every month. But instead, looking at it from a perspective where, hey, my goal is to build a community that supports each other, whether that be students supporting your business, whether that be you supporting the students. It's just something that we can all look forward to being a part of, because we're just supporting each other and helping each other out.
So showing that authentic human side, right? To build
Yes.
that connection.
Yes.
What skills have you had to learn quickly that school couldn't teach you?
Oh my God. Biggest skill so obviously go to college. I will forever be an advocate for students going to college. I'm first gen. I love college. Get that degree. But I've learned more doing my startups than I have in any class. And something that I will always hold dearly, I think I mentioned it in the beginning as well, is that you don't know anything. You will never understand how to build a business. There's no blueprint. There's no one telling you this is the next step you have to do. My job as the CEO and leader of the entire company is to figure it out and have a long-term vision. You are leading the strategy behind the team, the company, everything. And there will be times, because I've faced this personally, where you have to start over. And sometimes, although it sucks, starting over is so much better than going on when the foundation is not strong. So one of the main things that I learned while doing business is that you need to have a long-term vision, like a big vision, a strategic vision, but also have it broken down where it can be, where you can execute in order to get to that long-term vision. And the next thing is you will hopefully, like, you don't have to, but sometimes you will have to start over. You will have to start over, and it'll be the best decision you probably will make, because I started over my business, and I think I mentioned this previously as well. We've grown like 3 to 4x more faster than we did with my last business. And the third thing is that there is no blueprint. You have to figure it out. You have to watch videos on YouTube. You have to ask questions. And I emphasize heavily on asking questions. You don't know what you don't know. You need to go find somebody that knows what they're doing or has experience in the problem that you're facing, and ask for advice and ask questions. And that's the best part about being an entrepreneur. You learn so quickly and you learn so fast, because speed is literally the game. Like, you need to be so fast at what you're doing, fast in the market, fast to get sales. Like, you just need to be fast. And I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to be building startups, because I've learned so much just from like these last few months. I've been in entrepreneurship officially by having startups for like a year and a half, 2 years now, and I've learned so much through it all. And I highly encourage everyone, if they get the chance, to do business, to start a business, to start a startup, because you learn so much faster than you ever will in class, because nothing is structured. It's you either you get it and you learn fast, or you slow down. And if you slow down, your business might fail.
So I have a few questions for you on that.
Yes.
How do you balance your life as a student and as an entrepreneur? And secondly, what advice would you give to college students who want to start their own business? Would you encourage them to wait? Would you encourage them to start?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so addressing your first question, how do I balance everything? I don't believe in balance. I believe in harmony. I don't think there's a thing such as balance. There will be times where you have to sacrifice one thing for the other, depending on what matters most to you, and that's just how it is. Thankfully, school's very easy for me. I've always been good at school. It's just like it's one of my gifts, which I'm very proud of. School's been very easy for me, so I never really struggled in school. But when it comes to exams and stuff, I'm able to like manage my time in order to put enough effort into them to make sure that I get A's, and it's been great with that. But there's no such thing as balance. I emphasize harmony as much as possible, especially not just school, but when it comes to like family and everything else you want to do, whether it be hanging out with your friends and whatnot. You will have to sacrifice one thing for the other. It just depends on you and what holds more weight. If your business holds more weight because you're facing this problem and you want it to grow, then you'll put your business on top of your relationships with your friends or your school or whatever, or your clubs or whatever your extracurricular activities, whatever you're involved in, it'll just way lower. And sometimes it might shift. You have an exam that you really need to study because you need to pass this class. You'll just have to put your business on a low flame, basically. Like, think of it like an oven. You turn it on low and you put this side on high to focus on this. And once that's done, you switch over. You can never have a 50-50 balance. I don't believe in that. It's just your what you think you should be focusing on depending on what state you're at. And that's just how entrepreneurship is. And then your second question on, do you think if students would wait? I absolutely recommend every single student to start a business in college. 100%. There's so many resources at your university, like at SDSU, for example. There's so many resources here, and think of it as a bubble. You're basically in a bubble where you are protected and safe, and you have all these resources, all these professors, everyone around you supporting you, where you can build your business, and even if you fail, you have time to build another one. And especially when it comes to being a college student, so many people want to help you. I've had numerous mentors, from CEOs to people that work in biotech, people that work in technology, people that work in apparel. There's so many people that genuinely want to help college students because they were there once before and they wish they had a mentor at that age. So abuse your student privileges. I highly recommend using all the resources at your university and using the title of being a student to fall back on if like something does happen. It's okay. You can just go and do it again, because by the time you graduate, that's when, I mean, I'm about to graduate this May. That's when life really, like, there's no one to be able to fully support you. Whereas in college, you have an entire like community to support you. You're just basically on your own at that point. You don't have anyone to go to if something happens, like a department to ask for help or resources there. You just have to keep finding stuff on your own. So to summarize, if you're a college student or you're going to college or even right now in high school, start a business. You have zero responsibility when it comes to having a family. You have zero responsibility. You probably don't have to pay rent, especially if you're in high school. You can focus your time entirely on building something.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Sandy. I really enjoyed our conversation today. Do you have any final pieces of advice before we wrap this?
Yes, the best piece of advice that I was ever given, and I will forever treasure it because it changed the trajectory of my life, is do it scared. There will be many times, especially when I first started my first business, I did not know startups. I didn't know technology. I was literally starting a tech business. I had no technical foundation. And I remember like vividly the conversation I had. They just said, do it scared. There's nothing holding you back but yourself. Do not be the reason why you limit yourself from achieving greatness, from doing amazing things. Just suck it up, cry. If you're crying, just cry at your desk and do it. Just do the work. Because in the end, once you start figuring stuff out, because let's say you're crying at your desk, you need to learn how to code, and you start to slowly get it. Your tears get wiped away, and you just start to understand that, like, oh wait, I just had to get over the initial hill, and then you keep going up from there. So that's the one piece of advice that has changed my life completely. And now whenever I'm scared to do something, I purposely do it because I know that I will not grow as a person unless I get over this obstacle and hurdle that I have of like the fear of failing first. So always do it scared.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Sandy. That's
Of course,
really
thank you for
valuable
having me.
advice. Thank you. And I really appreciate our conversation today and learned a lot, so thanks.